The future must not belong to those who slander the Prophet of Islam.
The future must not belong to those who slander the Prophet of Islam. President Obama said that 2 years ago at the UN, and what a prophet he was. For the Paris paper that had mocked Muhammad, 12 futures no longer belong. Of course, we condemn such barbarism. We always do. Condemnation after the fact is what the timid always do. Who are we to champion our free expression and shame their intolerance? That's so culturally insensitive to those who wish to behead you. Which raises the contradiction. Today, bigotry in the United States is totally rejected. But if intolerance is international, then it's culturally off limits. It's a lifestyle, part of a diverse fabric that we must understand. Because we're at fault, you see, for our evil ways. So instead of condemning intolerance, we blame ourselves. Perp walking a filmmaker, falsely blaming him for inciting Islamic gore. There we validated evil, giving barbarism a decade more of free parking. We are a nation whose callow leaders are quick to condemn Islamophobia, less so the Islamo-violence that precedes it. But if reaction to evil is a phobia, then only the sane would be phobic. Remember on Bill Maher's show when Ben Affleck called anyone a bigot who dared to expose radical Islam? Fun.
You're saying that Islamophobia is not a real thing.
I'm not denying that certain people are bigoted against Muslims as people, right. And that's a problem.
Big of you.
But
why are you so hostile about this? It's gross. It's racist.
It's not. We have to be able to criticize bad ideas. And
of course we do. No liberal doesn't want to criticize bad ideas.
But Islam at this moment is the motherlode of bad ideas.
Jesus.
So we have
That's
ideas
just a fact.
like blasphemy.
It's an ugly thing.
It's the only religion that acts like the mafia that will kill you if you say the wrong thing, draw the wrong picture, or write the wrong book.
It's Affleck's mentality, a moral blindness to evil in front of you that our enemies cherish. I expect a dumbass actor to possess it, but not a president. So I know, Dana, that Ben Affleck's response to what happened in France will be ignoring, well, saying it's awful, but then worrying about the backlash. That always seems to be the kind of equation that follows any of these things with people who believe that Islamophobia is worse than Islamo-violence.
Putting the cart before the horse.
Right.
So they're worried about what's going to happen afterwards. I can understand that, especially if you are in government. And if you remember, I think it was 2 summers ago when we were actually on air, when there were all of the riots in France, like night after night, and that was fueled by angry Muslim youth because they felt that they were being discriminated against. They didn't have economic opportunity. Their schools are not good enough. It's actually what they seem to be looking for in those riots was better economic mobility. What the terrorists today were looking for was revenge, and I think that those two things can be separated out. I don't know how a government is actually going to thread that needle. To use one of your
banned phrases. Eric, you know, we were always told for I don't know how many years that it was things like Gitmo and what was going on in Gitmo, torture, waterboarding, is what leads to this sort of violent display. It wasn't. It's cartoons. It's cartoons that got them killed. It's not all the things. The hanging of Saddam Hussein was going to be a backlash. It's never that. It's always this.
It's a hatred of the West. Hidden behind, hey, that cartoon offends our religion. The reality is, Jesus, Moses, Muhammad were men, and Muslims believe that Muhammad should never be pictured. He was a man. He wasn't to be idolized. By drawing him, by showing a picture of him, it would create more of a God atmosphere around it, and they felt that was bad. Is that enough to kill people over? Obviously not. They clearly don't care if Jesus is pictured or Moses is pictured, right? So here's the point. Why wouldn't Muslims now say, all right, that was then, that's part of our history, but look, we're 2015, we're globalized right now, we're around the globe, we need to assimilate into other communities. We're going to relax that rule. We're not going to kill people for putting a picture of Muhammad on our magazine cover or drawing a cartoon of him. That would be nice olive branch.
That's never going to happen. There's a billion Muslims
Muslims
in the world,
They don't want
right?
to do
Is that the right figure?
Yeah.
And And you would think that their public image is getting ripped apart every day, and that somebody in some position of power would say, we're setting ourselves back a long way here. Check it off what you said. I don't get it. I do not, unless they're just so frightened of these people that they refuse to say it. But if you're in the House of Saud, or you're a Muslim leader around the world, you're watching your religion being ripped apart because of these fools.
Well, you should help crush them.
I know, that's what I mean, and they won't do it. And I, for the life of me, can't understand why.
To put money and weapons and intelligence committed to it.
That's all I can say is they're scared or they're cowards.
Yeah. Or they're on board.
They should be leading the charge.
Or they're on board.
And it's something, you think at the United Nations, I know they got a lot on their plate, but their main agenda item is global warming instead of global terror. And it's actually, I'm not suggesting the UN should actually do anything, but NATO, for example, is an entity that could help share intelligence about these types of attacks, hopefully to prevent them from occurring.
I want to, Kimberly, just play this thought. This is Jay Johnson talking about the idea of lone wolves. I want to ask you if that term still applies.
It is evolving in that there are more affiliates, adherents to core terrorist organizations, and lone wolf actors who may lurk within our society that could strike with little notice, commit an act of violence because they have been inspired by things they see on the internet, social media.
Is the term lone wolf essentially irrelevant now that everybody's connected?
It's like obsolete, like my 1969 Encyclopedia Britannica. What's he talking about? Any terrorist attack that's happened can be traced back to some kind of form of radical terrorism, some connection with the group, whether they've been inspired. They're not going to sit there with a calling card, like a library card, and say, hi, I've been radicalized, self-radicalized or not. They're acting on their beliefs and their religious beliefs and carrying out these attacks. It really shows that they don't have an understanding of the depths of this problem by saying lone wolf. It is all tied in. Any of these acts since 9/11 in Canada, in the United States, in Australia, whatever we've seen recently, and now this here in Paris, same thing.
Always seems like the people are ahead of the government in identifying threats, whether it was in every major war.
That's not comforting.
Yeah. All right, the country's biggest problem, revealed by Dana Perino. It's me. Next.